Hello everyone, ShintoBean here with some more Age of Sigmar Realms of Ruin content. In this one we're going to be doing another faction-focused video looking at the Disciples of Tzeentch faction and all their units and structures. So this is an overview of their units. They've got a total of 9, 3 Tier 1, 3 Tier 2, and 3 Tier 3 units. Although the one Tier 1 hero, the Magister, can actually be upgraded at Tier 3, like the Cruel Boys hero can. And then over on the right side we have the upgrades, mostly for units, but there are 2 structure upgrades in there as well. So let's start off by looking at the Tier 1 units. The Assault unit is the Kyric Acolytes. They have a unit size of 7, they cost 130 command. And being an Assault unit, they have the Charge ability for 60 command. They also have a passive ability called Gestalt Sorcery, which increases the damage they deal while the unit is over half of its max unit size. So I guess that would be 4 or more troops remaining in the unit. And then it has an activated ability called Sorceress Bolts, which is a pretty powerful ranged attack for 40 Realm Stone. You have to unlock it through the Tier 1 upgrade of the same name, and at Tier 3 you can upgrade that ability with the Sorceress Fusillade upgrade. So normally they're just a melee unit, but they do have that ranged ability as well. Moving on to the ranged unit for Tier 1, we've got the Horrors of Tzeentch, and these are kind of a unique unit. So they start off with 4 pink horrors for 150 command. And they don't actually have any activated abilities, but they have the ability to split and split again on death. So when pink horrors die, they split into 2 blue horrors, which also attack with a ranged attack. And then the blue horrors, when they die, they turn into 2 brimstone horrors, which only live for a short time before charging into the enemy and exploding. And blue and brimstone horrors cannot be healed, so maybe it's not quite as effective to retreat this unit once it's taken some damage. For the upgrades, there are 2 Tier 1 upgrades. Channeled Immolation just increases their basic attack damage. Alternatively, you can pick Frantic Flames, which increases the range of their attack. Moving on to the Heroic Tier 1 unit, we've got the Magister, who has a ranged attack. He costs 230 command and 40 Realm Stone. His passive ability, Shield of Fate, grants a nearby allied unit a small shield while out of combat. He has an activated ability called Gift of Tzeentch for 55 Realm Stone, which fires several waves of energy that heal allies and damage enemies, and this sort of has a cone-shaped area of effect. So of course you'll want him positioned behind your allied units, which are maybe in combat with enemies, for the greatest effect of that. The Magister has 2 Tier 1 upgrades. Bounty of Tzeentch increases the damage and healing of the Gift of Tzeentch ability, or you can choose Infusion Arcanum, which increases the attack damage and range of the Magister's basic attack. And at Tier 3 you can upgrade the Magister into sort of a flying unit, with the Disc of Tzeentch upgrade, which allows him to fly and move a lot faster. Doesn't actually change any other abilities of his though, and it actually makes him a little more expensive. So I don't know, it's not as huge of an upgrade I think as the Cruel Boys hero. Moving on to Tier 2, we've got the Zangors. They are the heavy unit for Tier 2, and there's 5 of them per unit, and they cost 270 command and 70 Realm Stone. These guys also do not have any activated abilities actually. So they have one passive ability called Destined Mayhem, which increases their attack speed while near an allied hero like the Magister. And at Tier 2 you can pick between 2 upgrades. Destined Mayhem improves the effects of their passive ability, also granting them Unstoppable and increasing their defense while near an allied hero. Or you can pick Savagery Unleashed to increase their movement speed and basic attack damage. So either an offensive or defensive upgrade for them. And then we've got the Screamers of Tzeentch. This is an assault unit for Tier 2, and they can fly. There are 3 of them per unit, and they cost 280 command and 90 Realm Stone. They have a pretty costly charge attack called Slashing Charge for 120 command, which causes them to slam into a target location, dealing area damage and reducing the armor of enemies in range. And then one of the upgrades you can choose is Wailing Cry, which would give them the ability for 75 Realm Stone to inflict fear and silence to all enemies in range, so they won't be able to use any abilities. And it also reveals hidden enemies and grounds enemy flyers as well. Instead of the Wailing Cry, you can choose Slashing Scream, which gives them the passive ability to damage and slow nearby enemies. So of course these guys as flyers can move very quickly across the battlefield. You do kind of have to be careful though, because they can get shot down really fast by ranged units. And then for Tier 2 we also have a powerful ranged unit with the Flamers of Tzeentch. There are 3 of these guys per unit. They cost 300 command and 100 Realm Stone. They start off with the Bounding Warp Flame ability for 60 Realm Stone, which allows them to leap to a target area and leave behind a large patch of fire from the location they just jumped from. So surprising amount of mobility on these guys with that. And then you can unlock the Touched by Fire ability with one of the upgrades, which summons a ball of warp fire that slowly expands, damaging enemies within, and this has a pretty large area of effect, so a pretty powerful ability there. Or you can choose to just increase their basic ranged attack damage and range with the Conflagration upgrade. Moving on to Tier 3, we've got the Zangor Skyfires. So this is a ranged unit with the ability to fly, and they can actually shoot while in the air as well. There are 3 of them per unit. They cost 570 command and 220 realm stone, and most tier 3 units don't actually have upgrades, but this one is an exception. The upgrade Judgment from Afar grants them their activated ability, in which they channel to fire several volleys that deal area damage and reduce armor, and those bolts come straight down from the sky at an area of your choice. They also have a passive ability to reveal hidden enemies while they are flying through the air. And then we got the tier 3 assault unit, the Ogroid Thaumaturge. There's just one of these guys. He's 540 command and 180 realm stone. This guy has a charge attack, but you can't actually use it until he's taken some damage. So he's got the passive ability Brutal Rage. It fills up as he's taken damage, and when it's full, it disables active abilities. Not really sure what that means, but it increases his damage and movement, and then allows him to use that rampaging charge ability, which damages and knocks back enemies. For 170 realm stone, he has the Choking Tendrils activated ability, which summons tendrils at a location that damage and slow enemy ground units, and also heal the Ogroid for each unit hit. So if a bunch of enemies are clumped up, that can be quite effective. And then finally, we've got the very powerful heroic unit for tier 3, the Lord of Change. Now this is really beautiful, probably most impressive looking unit in the game, I think. Very expensive though, 800 command and 420 realm stone. He's got the Beacon of Sorcery ability, which grants it an aura that increases nearby allies' attack and also silences enemies within range. And 2 powerful abilities. So the Infernal Gateway is pretty crazy. It's 300 realm stone, so very expensive ability, but he channels to open up this massive portal that slows and damages enemies, dealing the most damage towards the center of the portal, and it does an extreme amount of damage, so it can destroy units and buildings alike. A very powerful ability there. He's also got the Rod of Sorcery for 150 realm stone, where he fires a bolt of energy that damages and silences enemies in that radius. And moving on to the structures. So first up, we got the command post, which for Tzeentch is called the Inflection Point. Again, this heals and reinforces nearby allied units, attacks and reveals enemies, generates command, and as you upgrade it, unlocks higher tier units and upgrades, and also increases your population cap. At the final level, though, this one unlocks a very powerful faction ability called Plea to the Silver Tower, which costs a whopping 375 realm stone, but calls down this gigantic beam that deals a massive amount of damage, and also heals allies in range, and it slowly moves across an area which you can choose the trajectory for. So very cool looking ability there. Next up, we got the Defense Bastion, which is called the Tome of the Demonic Simulacrum. And this one attacks enemies within the targeting area and can be upgraded with the Twisting Mirage upgrade to target flying units. Next is the Harvest Bastion, which is called the Silver Tower Tether. And of course, it increases your realm stone production. Then we got the Healing Bastion called the Altar of Tzeentch. This heals and reinforces allies within range and also increases your population cap, and when upgraded can allow you to summon more units at the same time. We've got the Vision Bastion called the Eye of Tzeentch, which increases the amount of command gained at that point, reveals nearby enemies, and can be upgraded to further increase the command gain, allow you to research an additional upgrade at the same time, and unlock another vision ability called Glimpse the Plan for 25 realm stone. And then there are 2 structure upgrades for Tzeentch. At tier 2, you can get the Demonic Reinforcement ability, which you can use at a Defense Bastion to summon a unit of 4 blue horrors for 100 realm stone. So pretty useful ability there. Pink horrors, of course, cost command, but if you have a lot of realm stone at the end, you can just very quickly get an additional unit from somewhere other than your realm gate back at your base. And then there's also the Tether Defenses upgrade at tier 2, which gives your Harvest Bastions an aura that damages nearby enemies. So kind of unique defense system for your realm stone bastions. So that is the Disciples of Tzeentch faction for you. Definitely have access to a lot of very powerful abilities, many of them requiring a large amount of realm stone. And you also notice, if you look at the units again, there's only one heavy unit in the entire faction, so a lot of assault units, a lot of range, and some very powerful heroic units as well. So they do play a little bit differently than the other factions.
After playing a few games with them, I gotta say they're probably my favorite faction overall. Just a whole lot of fun, but let me know what you think, and if you have any questions. Also, if you haven't checked out my other faction focus videos, please do that as well. But thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.